What up? Welcome to the channel. Today I just want to simply hop on here and talk about competition. The real question that everybody should be asking themselves every single day is, who is your competition? Right? Who is your competition? Who are you competing against? Why are you competing against them? And what is the benefit of doing such things? Right? Everybody's talking about that you shouldn't compare yourself to other people. Comparison is the thief of joy, etc., etc., etc. And in some cases it is, especially if you're doing it to a degree that is just straight up tyranny. If the person that you're competing against is just 40, 50, 60, 70 miles ahead of you and you have no chance of even catching up. But if the person you're comparing yourself to is 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of you, then why wouldn't you compare? Why wouldn't you, try to be as close to them as possible so you can get to that next level? Comparison is a thief of joy if it happens in a degenerative degree. If it happens in a manner where you have zero chance, zero fucking chance, zero chance at all. And then I think too, obviously, my main audience here is going to be people a little bit younger in high school and whatever and such like that. The people that you're comparing yourself to right now is what? The people in grade 12, the people in, grade 10, or the people just a couple grades above you, right? They're the ones who are getting the more girls. They're the ones who are getting more money potentially. They have better jobs. They're a little bit better looking. They're bigger. They're stronger. They're taller, etc. But that's your competition for now. So get as close to that as you possibly can, because soon that competition is going to shift, bro. That competition is going to shift, because the same thing happened to me. Obviously, I was a chubby-ass little kid in high school, but when I was competing, I wasn't really competing with anyone because I didn't understand competition or social hierarchies or anything of that matter. But you are comparing to you are competing with people that are, in grade 12 or, just a couple grades higher than you. But once you leave high school, and this happened for me, once you leave high school, you're actually now competing with every man in the world. Especially because now that we have social media, the people that you're competing against it's crazy. It's to a different level. It's to a different degree. Like right now, I'm competing with guys like Andrew Tate and all those motherfuckers, and they're miles ahead of me. Right? Obviously, I should be humble on myself, and if I was comparing myself to them, then I would be taking away joy from myself, because they're years ahead of me and they have decades on me. They're double my age, literally. But what I'm saying here is that you need to understand who you're competing against. Who are you competing against? Have your competition in mind. I want you to write now in your notes on a piece of paper, write down 3 people you are competing against, 3 businesses you are competing against, 3 men, 3 women you are competing against. Who are those individuals? Who are those individuals? Next thing I want you to keep in mind is why you are competing with them. What do they have that you don't have? What will you benefit from having what they have? And what did they have to go through to get what they have? Keep all of those things in mind, and it's going to give you more of a reason to do the correct things to get to that position. You need to understand who you're competing against and why you're competing with these individuals. Because competition is the only thing that's going to drive us. I was just on social media a few hours ago, and some guy posted a TikTok. He said, in one clip, he's like, I'm just going to rest for today. And then the other clip, he's like, don't worry, then I'll just be one step ahead of you. And there was loads of other men in the comment section saying, yo, bro, it's not a competition. I'm going to go at my own pace. Yada, 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 yada. And I just pure and honestly think those are weak fucks. I've never seen so much men or boys or whatever step away from competition. And I've never found myself not wanting to compete with other people. Competition is the only thing that's on my mind. It's the only thing that drives me. And once my insignificance is highlighted in any situation, I'm pushed towards action. Always, I'm pushed towards action. Or once necessary pressure is placed on me to perform, then I'll do what the fuck I need to do at all times. Like right now, my insignificance is highlighted in terms of my body and my physical standards and where I need to be. That's why I'm in the gym after my ACL is healed. I'm in the gym as hard as I fucking can be again, and I'm glad that I'm there. And who am I competing with? I followed a few guys on Instagram. I'm going to start DMing them, getting some coaching with them, but yet little do they know that I'm going to come to their fucking level. I'm going to outdo their following. I'm going to become in better shape. I'm going to have more money, and I'm going to have more status. I'm competing with those guys. Those guys have 50K followers, 60K followers. I'm not going to put any of their social media tags in the description or anything like that, but once I get to that level, then I go again to the next, to the next, to the next. And right now, the job situation that I'm in a dealership selling cars and whatever. I have 18 other salesmen among us, salesmen and 2 saleswomen. I have so much competition. I have so much competition. Who's going to sell the most cars? Who's going to talk to the most clients? Who's going to make the most calls? Who's going to post the most things on Facebook Marketplace? Who's going to make the best calls? Who's going to have the most solid appointments? Who's going to avoid any no-shows for the appointments that they do book, right? So know who you're competing against. Understand why you're competing against them. Those are the number one crucial things. Who's your competition? If you don't have any competition or you don't have anybody in mind who you're competing against or you're comparing yourself to, I'm afraid that you are a little bit behind. But doesn't mean there's no hope. Just make sure you have that in mind. Have that in mind. Have your competition in mind or you'll forever be behind. And I don't want that to be you. It was me at one point where I had nobody that I was competing with. And I said, I'll just compare myself to who I was yesterday. And I think there might be a little bit of a matrix within the self-help industry in terms of only compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Because although that is good, that is very good, and it does help me. I'm not going to, dispense with that idea. But what if who you are yesterday is somebody who you're not satisfied with? Okay, then you do better today. But you're only going to be a little bit better. Like, I understand it's actually a good place to be. Like, I actually do agree with that mindset. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to dispense with it or anything like that. But why wouldn't you compare yourself to who you can be in 5 days? And if that's somebody else, and if you can't imagine that for yourself, then what harm does it do to just have somebody to look up to, have an idol, and have somebody to be in competition with? Be in competition with your future self, not the past self. Be in comparison with who you can be, not who you were yesterday. Because who you were yesterday was somebody else. And honestly, if you're continuously comparing yourself to somebody who you were, then that means that you might still identify as that same individual. Because if I'm comparing myself to who I was yesterday, I didn't work out as intensely as possible. Then if I try to go a little bit more intense today, part of me is going to be like, okay, I'll just stick with the same intensity as yesterday, but I'll just do 2% better. Well, then versus I can be in the gym, I can see somebody working 70% more intense than I am, and I can do 50% of that instead of 2% more than what I did yesterday. It's just pushing your limits to a stronger level, to a higher degree. So who's your competition? Understand your competition. Understand what it takes to get to where your competition is, whether that's within 5 years, 5 months, 5 days, whatever kind of time frame you can imagine, and you can make the necessary sacrifices for, and do it. Point blank. Who's your competition? Figure that out. Work to outdo them at all times. Love you. Start off tomorrow strong, G. Peace.